Alright, so these are some logos that I animated using Gemini AI. So originally they're just some static images, but with the new model on Gemini, I was able to animate those logos. And I got the logo of Cloud AI, the older version of Google, Figma, and of course Google Chrome. So again, they are initially just some normal images, but thankfully with the new model on Gemini called Gemini 3.1 Pro, we can animate that static file into an attractive and professional animation, which later I guess you can use the animation for your video, your website, or any project that might contain or need some motion in the content. So in this video, I'm going to show you how you can animate your own logo or any visual element with the new model on Gemini AI. So first, you need to prepare your own logo, and for this example I'll use the logo of Microsoft. And after that, you need to convert that logo. It could be in the PNG format or JPEG or WebP, but you need to convert the file into an SVG format. There are many ways to do it. You can use some random website online to turn your logo into that file, or you can also just use Gemini and create an app on Gemini to convert the file into an SVG format. I actually have made a video about it. If you are interested, you can check that out on my channel. But basically, just get the SVG version of your own logo. So for this Microsoft logo, I have the SVG version, and it looks like this. It is basically the same content, except now it is in the SVG format. And that is a very important detail, because with this format, we can do a lot of things. We can customize the logo. We can even animate the logo. Now, after you got the SVG version of your own logo, we need to use the latest version of Gemini to basically animate that logo. Now, initially, I want to use the Gemini platform, basically the Gemini web or app version, because in this version you have the access to the latest version of the Gemini model. But unfortunately, during my testing, I wasn't able to use the model here to animate the SVG file. It is always crashing. It is not actually able to finish the full code, so I wasn't able to create an animation with the Gemini model in this platform. But fortunately, the Gemini model is basically everywhere. We can still use the latest version of Gemini on a different Google tool. And in this case, we want to use a tool called Google Antigravity. You can search for Google Antigravity. This is basically a coding tool that is powered by some models from Google, which is the Gemini model. And don't worry, even though if you're not a programmer, you're not a developer, this is very easy to use. And I think it's a good idea to have this tool around because you can do a lot of things with Google Antigravity. So just download the file and install it normally on your computer. And again, I actually have made a video on how you can run or install this program on your computer. If you are interested, you can check that video on my channel. But basically, after that, you can open Antigravity on your computer. Okay, so this is my previous project. This is basically the animations that I generated using Gemini in Google Antigravity. But I'll just start a new project. I'm going to click File, click Open Folder, and let me call this new folder a new SVG animation. Enter, select folder, and okay, so do you trust the authors of the files in this folder? Yes, I am the author. Okay, no problem. Now, after that, we have this empty canvas. There's nothing here. Let me just zoom in a bit so you can see everything. Okay, so here I will copy the SVG file. So I have this SVG, Microsoft logo SVG. I'll put it here in the directory of the project. I'll just right click and then I'll just copy the file and I'll just click OK. There is no paste button, but usually you can just press Ctrl V or I guess Command V if you're using Mac, and it should paste that file into that directory. I'll just click paste. And there you go, I got the SVG version of that logo. Now, we need to tell AI that we want that AI to animate this logo file. And this is the prompt that I'm going to use. So this is a simple prompt. You can get it in the description down below. Let me just copy it. This is a very basic prompt, and if you know some technicalities, if you are experienced with animation, I highly recommend to play around with this prompt and try to customize it, because this is just a generic instruction, so the result might not be as creative as if the logo was animated by a real person. So feel free to customize the logo, the prompt as you like. Okay, so here I'll select fast and I'll select Gemini 3.1 Pro high version. Okay, when you're done, just click send and just wait for Gemini to turn this SVG static file into an animated logo. Now on this prompt, it will actually generate two separate animated SVG files, and you can choose later which one that you want to use. And given that SVG is basically just a code, you can interact with AI, you can chat with this AI model on Antigravity, and you can make some changes. You can tweak the design or the animation style using simple plain English. So I guess that's the benefit of having the SVG file, because it's just a code and it's something that AI can quite easily handle. Now, this process might take quite a while. It could take several minutes, and sometimes it will ask you to do something. Just monitor the process and maybe accept or approve some actions that might be needed to finish the animation. So I'll just skip forward and I'll show you the final result. All right, so I got two animations plus another one that I'll explain later, but let me just show you the first animation. Okay, that's a classic explosion. Now there is actually one shining effect like that, so if you don't like it, you can actually chat with Gemini to tell it to remove that or fix that. That is why the SVG format can be very useful when working with AI, because it is something that you can quite easily fix with just some plain English prompting. Now let me just try the second animation. Okay, that's a nice one. Now it will again only create two animations, but later I actually asked AI to create another variation with a totally different style, and it took a while, and apparently it's just, you know, it's very difficult for AI to generate the code for the animation. I think that kind of explains why the Gemini model in the Gemini platform cannot actually do it, because perhaps the code or the process takes too long, but fortunately we can do this on the Antigravity tool. Now let me just show you the third animation, which I think looks the best. There you go. I think it looks really cool, and if you like it, you can right click on the code, right click on the file, and then you can click reveal in the File Explorer, and then you can have the file on your computer. You can upload to your website. You can also use the animation for your video. It's up to you, because now the file is fully animated. So I guess that's basically how you can animate your own logo using Gemini AI. It is not going to give you the most fancy animation, but I think this should be enough to give you some nice animation for your video or website. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you on my next video. I wish you a great day ahead.